Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to another AIMBOT Resurrection. It's a surprise for you today. I've got the wonderful waifu, the best waifu in existence, Lynn, joining me. Surprise! And, you know, she's part ghost and part human, so I am joined by the Holy Spirit of Lynn. So if you're new, welcome. If you're returning here, welcome back, of course. Sit in your cozy armchair that is the reading room, and let's enjoy some AIMBOT. If you're here for the first time, what are we doing? Simply, I am applying secular humanism as a basis for right and wrong to situations on Reddit of am I the arsehole? So it is solicited and consensual judging of people to say, hey, can we say what is right and wrong under a secular worldview? That doesn't mean that if you have a religious worldview, you're exempt. I'd love to know people's religion, sort of reasons under a religious worldview of why things are right and why things are wrong. What's the basis for that? How do you get to there? Can you apply the Bible to it? I would be surprised if you can for some of these situations, you know, like my neighbor's dog chewed my wooden leg. Should I be angry? You know, how do you get whether that's right or wrong from the Bible? So, but yeah, so if you're joining us, we're going to be getting up this list of situations. But how are you, Lynn? How are you doing?
Yeah. Existing in the current state of which I am capable of existing in. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I'm kind of, I was sort of saying in the chat that I do feel a bit, I did have a gaming channel going, and I sort of took a break over Christmas, and I felt a little burnt out. I think I just sort of focused on this channel the most because it's funny how exhausting some of these conversations are, and it's something that I would get a lot in my previous work, and you would get as well. Like you're sitting there at a desk doing either clerical work or, you know, answering phones basically, and people like, how can you be exhausted after that? And it's like, it takes out of you. Yeah, the mental load, like your body's fine, your brain can be mush, you know, and I feel like that after some of these conversations. So I really am trying to be kind to myself. And look, Jedi, nobody ever gets notifications. It's ridiculous. I never get them. Like I will get them, and sometimes they rock up like a day later, and I'm like, wait, I was online then and on YouTube. What is going on?
It feels like they prioritize the bigger channels, maybe, or they just don't. I don't know. They should be the same for everybody.
I don't know. I am so confused about how they work because, well, they don't.
They don't.
Okay, I'm very confused about how they don't work because, yeah. Oh, Hillhugger got notified. Okay, so you are the chosen one. The chosen one is here. Hillhugger,
YouTube has bestowed you notification privileges.
But the weird thing was that happened to me yesterday, and sorry, Lynn, I just do want to sort of cover this and give the people another surprise. So if you're here from the very start, you get a surprise clip that I'm going to show because, yeah, oh my, so lucky. Yeah, no, I hear you, mate. Tech support, like your brain can be absolute mush, but I do feel that way after some conversations or debates, really. But yesterday I found a pre-sup debate channel that was taking callers. Actually, it was very strange because Grayson Hawk and myself found it at exactly the same time. Grayson Hawk is another content creator that does science and things like that. So I went on there last night, and it was a wild conversation. I did get permission to show their stuff as long as I don't blaspheme or slander people or Jesus Christ. So I'm not sure what that entails, but I'll try to be as fair as possible. But if you're aware of who he is, a guy who wasn't on there originally jumped in, and his name is Cy10 Brugenkate. So he dropped in to go up against Mark Reed, which is just fantastic. So I'm going to play a teaser. I will try to get this up as soon as possible, but I'm so delighted at how it went. I do want to show like a teaser kind of thing.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, just a teaser of, you know, what you can expect to be coming up when I put it up, when I actually get my act together and put it up.
Are you going to review it while you watch it, or are you just going to put the clips up?
I think I will put it up. I might add some commentary like I do with my room. I suppose I could review it. That could be possible. I might do a vote, maybe, see if do people want me to review it, I guess. So this is just a sliver of the clip just to whet your appetite at what happened. Actually hilarious. So sit back and enjoy. Well, there you go. What's your problem then?
Because I can justify it. I'm asking you to. How do you know that
justify it?
Well, God makes us know things. That's what
you said. How
do
you know that?
Because God makes us know things.
How do you know that?
God makes us know it.
How do you know that?
God makes us know it.
How do you know that?
God makes us know it.
How do you know that?
God makes us know it.
Would this be a circular argument?
No, it's a spiral. God,
no,
see, the thing is,
it's a spiral. No, it's not circular. It's a spiral.
Wrong geometric shape. If that using geometry.
I would like to know where the spiral ends and how I get out of it. Yeah. Hi, Beck. How you doing? Yeah. Oh, that's that. And a lot of it was like this. So, let me know in the comments or let me know in the chat if you do want to see me review it or whether I should just post it as a room rumble. Because at the moment I was just intending on posting it as a room rumble. I won't lie. But it was a incredibly like it was something. It was definitely something. So I did have a lot of fun. It did sort of leave me a bit drained though. Like it was just very,
Should we clarify why that is for us specifically? Not saying that I'm saying that the neurotypical experience is any different. You can feel drained, but it is very much our brains doing that to us. The cognitive load that actually really does affect you. That's what causes the burnout. So even if you think you're not physically doing anything, your body's doing a heck of a lot to keep your brain going, I think, and that's causing the sense of tiredness, even though you're physically just sitting relatively still. The brain's really asking a lot from you in terms of just need that energy to cognate effectively. But you don't feel it until you've stopped and gone, oh, okay, that was kind of a bit much.
Yeah. I felt energized during it. It's just afterwards I felt a bit drained. And that's exactly what I thought, Hillhugger. That's exactly right. It's a spiral with special. Yeah, it's not a circular argument because it's special. It contains God, so therefore it's just. Yeah, no, I get you. But let's go to AIMBOT now. Just first off, none of these are curated. We haven't picked these selectively. We've just opened it up. We're going to come take the first ones coming up. Apply secular humanism, which is consequentialism, what are the consequences of these, and utilitarianism, which is how can we get the most well-being out of it to see if we can navigate or at least have some opinions on morality. Now, I will be doing a vote if you've never been here before. So, I will do a poll and I will go through the comments and see what you think. So if you do have an opinion on it, please do say something in the comments and I'll go through them and let everybody know what you think. So the first cab off the rank, sorry, I scrolled down a bit. I was just looking around. So first one is from Known Occasion. I wonder what the occasion is. 2041. Oh, maybe it's the end of the world. Someone's made a prediction. Am I the arsehole for declining to invite a woman who has called herself a total klepto into my home? No, my initial thought is no. I think
if she gives you the bad of ick vibe.
Well, I don't think it's that. I think that she, anyone that describes themselves a total klepto, kleptomania, sort of the idea that you cannot psychologically stop yourself from stealing stuff. It's an actual thing. I'm not sure if they were just saying that for a laugh, but if you do think they have kleptomania, I can understand why, because they're going to take your stuff even if they don't want to. So, if they do have that illness, I don't see why it would be towards their well-being, not to put them in a position where to trigger that mental illness, just like you wouldn't, give beauty magazines to somebody with I've had a mental blank. Anorexia. nervosa.
Mhm.
You know, you try not to trigger that thing in them. I don't know why, you know, but
I don't know whether she's using it as like, you know, how some people joke about having OCD. Like, is she
right,
being
exactly, yeah.
at the same time? Do you know how serious she is by klepto? She might be like,
Yeah.
oh, I just, you know, steal things that everybody steals, like, you know, just extra things from restaurants and stuff like that, just inconsequential
right.
things, like
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
actually physically steal anything of value.
And she, you know, may not steal from her friends. She may, like you say, steal napkins and pens from businesses. But
Yeah,
if
Freemantling.
somebody, okay, so we got to explain that one because no one will know what we're talking about. So Douglas Adams with who did he write it with? Douglas Adams and somebody else, I think it was.
Well, it wasn't. Oh God, who was it? It wasn't Terry Pratchett. It was someone else.
No, I think it was someone else. The deeper meaning of live, the dictionary of things there aren't any words for yet, but there ought to be. I think that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah, a guy called John Lloyd, right?
Okay.
So Douglas Adams and John Lloyd. So essentially it was a bunch of made up words named after towns. Okay, so towns within the world kind of thing. And one of them was Fremantle, and Fremantle is a town in Western Australia. It's just south of where we live, and it's basically they gave it the meaning to steal something of little or no value. So just, you know, stealing a pen or stealing something from a restaurant, or you know what I mean, like just stealing things that are inconsequential was Fremantling, and we liked it so much we actually started using it, and then we've been using it ever since. So if somebody on this channel says I have Fremantled this, it means you know, they just stole something, but it wasn't worth very much or nothing at all. You know, just Fremantled it. There was another one. What was it? It was a Grimander, which is a town in Germany, was my other favorite one. And that was the definition of that they gave was the rate at which traffic flows when stuck behind a police officer not wanting to go faster than it. And I thought that was amazing. So a Grimander is that, you know, pile up of traffic because no one wants to pass the police officer doing the correct speed. So, excuse me. So yeah, that was my other favorite one. But yeah, this is a book that actually exists, The Deeper Meaning of Live. Anyway, let's get into this and find out what the hell is going on, because I don't see a problem with this. I think you should, you know, decline anybody that you don't feel right. Your home is kind of one of those places where, you know, I think due to a part of well-being is safety, right? You have to be safe. And if you don't feel safe having someone into your home, I don't think you need any more justification than that.
No,
I don't think you need a justification. You know, like, so if they don't feel safe, right, if they don't feel safe, then I think that's totally fair because your safety is important. I joined a women's social club 6 months ago because I've been struggling to make friends after relocating to a new to me city. Okay. It took me a while to warm up to the group to connect with people I actually had anything in common with. I had to wade through a lot of Botox parties and boozy brunches. What the hell? A Botox party? Is this a thing?
Yes, it is a thing.
People have a party and do Botox.
It's like a Tupperware party, but you invite somebody over to do injections. And I think they arrange it so it's like a freebie. It feels really, when I say it like that, it feels like a drug party. But yeah, it's
terrible.
Yeah, it's very much upper class thing.
Isn't Botox like a horrendous poison kind of thing?
It's classed as a poison. It's for facelifts. No, it's not. It's just it does things to the muscles, but you can use it for other medical reasons. So it's actually used for a heck of a lot of stuff other than what they use it for. But commonly, it's used for It's an injectable, and it's something that the socialite women do. Is they know people in the industry, and I think they just invite what the cosmeticist or whatever they're called, like these sort of dubious grey area beauticians who are trained to do that, and they get their friends all in on it. And yeah, headaches, correct. Yes, there's
that's fair. Yeah, okay.
all kinds of applications, not just that.
Yeah, but I presume they're not having a party with Botox to like mediate with their headaches. That's what I'm assuming.
No,
I'm
correct.
assuming
Yeah, it wouldn't be medicinal. No.
Right. It's more cosmetic than medicinal. I put it out on a limb that left-handed Jedi didn't go and get it at a party with lots of people. So they did find something they're interested in and started coming to the group events more often. I hang out with the women who like to read, do crafty things, bake, Skywatch. Okay. Among these women is one, I'll call her Andrea, who has made several comments about how she's a total klepto. I think she makes these comments to seem cool to the other people in the group. Yeah, maybe. I reached out to some of the women I see regularly at these events and invited them over to my place to watch a TV show we'd been talking about and do crafty stuff. They're all excited and agreed to come. Unfortunately, Andrea found out. I assume someone asked if she was going and reached out to me to ask if she was invited. I considered this for a bit and then told her no, as I only had so much room at home. She didn't believe me and asked me for the real reason, saying, I thought we got along, which, yes, is true. I told her I'm not comfortable inviting a kleptomaniac into my home, that I've worked hard to have the things I have, and it would be stupid for me to invite her knowing that she openly brags about it. Well, okay. I don't know.
That might have been a bit harsh to phrase it that way.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think that's a lot harsh to phrase it like that. She said, okay, very quietly. Then she said, you're painting me out to be some horrible criminal when you don't even know anything about me. I said that her being proud to call herself a klepto was all I needed to know. Well, that's not true. That is 100% not true.
Right.
She said that I was a high school mean girl and ableist.
Okay, not sure what the foundation. If she's starting to assert the kleptomania is a disability, then okay. But are you admitting now that your kleptomania is a psychological thing, or are you joking? Unsure. Are you joking? Because now you're accusing someone of ableism, so that suggests that you suffer from this, not that you just.
Well, if she says it's ableist, then you would expect that she actually does suffer from this psychological disorder.
That's what she's implying by saying that. So
absolutely, that's what
flipped the script a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I am unsure what the foundation for that statement is. Well, if you are not inviting someone with kleptomania to your house, I kind of think maybe she should, have her over and give her the benefit of the doubt, to be honest with you. But
get her to elaborate on what she means by that, because if it is just a joke to her, what do you mean by that? If you don't believe you're a criminal, explain to me how you're not a criminal.
If you're joking about being a kleptomaniac, that's in pretty damn poor taste. You wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm a total epileptic," when you don't.
Right,
that's
exactly.
Horrible.
Like, again, joking about, "Oh, I'm so OCD." Like, people sort of throw these terms around as a joke. Go, what do you mean by that? Because if you describe the experience to me, I'll tell you, well, that's not what that means. So, what do you think klepto means?
There's people that actually suffer from that illness, and it is not something to joke around. It's very disabling, and a lot of kleptomaniacs have a lot of shame associated with what they do. They hate that they take stuff but cannot seem to stop doing it, and it's not something to joke about or to pretend you have when you don't. It's not a funny, jokey kind of thing. And I get that people use it metaphorically. It's just, I don't know. It's very weird. But say ableist, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Yeah.
This unfortunately has spilled over to the group, which is frustrating. But what has surprised me is that out there are so many people defending her and telling me that I'm out of touch and take things too literally. Am I? Well, if it's not meant to be taken literally, then she's being pretty horrible by saying, "Hey, I'm a kleptomaniac," when she's not.
Yeah. And everybody else is defending her behavior, which is very odd.
Well,
again, if this is a joke, they're not explaining the joke. You don't get the punchline, right? So if you're taking it too seriously, it's mean you don't get the punchline. What's the punchline to this joke? Explain to me why we're all defending her for being a klepto.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess the punchline is she just is a bit of a rebel or something. She's just trying to look cool and
Maybe she
maybe
shoplifted a
that's
bit as a kid, and she doesn't want. She doesn't.
maybe.
I mean, because I shifted something once. You do stupid
so
things
did
as a
I
kid.
once. Yeah, absolutely.
You do dumb things as a kid. If that's what you mean, then just say so.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think anybody's been good here. Like
No.
she could have addressed it with like, are you really a like this? Do you
Mhm.
really have this disorder, or is that just something that you're being metaphorical kind of thing? And her sort of saying, hey, you're ableist suggests, we don't think you're a horrible criminal, but you do have a problem. Like if you're a kleptomaniac, you do have a problem with stealing things that is not your fault. It's an illness, but that also means that you might steal my stuff, and even if you don't want to. But I think sort of the I mean, she's approached it so like ridiculously, horrendously to this Andrea, but Andrea at the same time shouldn't be saying she's a kleptomaniac if she isn't.
Yeah.
Maybe she
and if you're,
is.
it sounds to me like the post is new to this group of people, and she's walked into something that it's got a backstory to it,
like an
and
inside
nobody's
joke kind of thing.
Yeah, and nobody's elaborating. So if they're accusing her of taking it too literally, it's like, well, again, this is something we get accused of for what our issues are. Sometimes we don't know whether you're joking or not. So if you are joking and we're taking offense, can you please explain to me why I'm not supposed to take this too literally?
How do you feel about neurotypical people saying that they're autistic or Aspie or whatever? Like, how do you feel about that?
It rubs me up a little bit more than other things. I try to not get to it. Same with when people used to say they're bipolar. A lot of people don't joke about any of those terms, but that was getting thrown about. But if people kind of, some of them I notice, okay, like you might be right, and the joking about it's kind of like that's funny to you, but you might be right. You might just be particular. There might be some other reason, but if you're just sort of using it as a joke, because I mean, autism just became the new R word at one point and still kind of is.
Right.
Like you were throwing that around as like, so you're just autistic now as a replacement for being the R word.
Yeah.
It just became a slur. So that's why I don't feel as great about it, because I know some people are sort of saying it to insinuate this person is that, but if they say that about themselves, again, in what regard, I would be like, what makes you, because everyone else would just probably laugh about it, but I'd be like, what makes you feel that? Like, I'd probably challenge them a bit on it. Like, and they're like, well, I do this, this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but is that funny to you? Are you making a joke? Are you trying to cover for some kind of insecurity by saying you think you're autistic? Or are you making fun of autistic people? Because I don't know again. And then
so it depends on the context. I think I would agree. Like sometimes it really irritates me when people say it off the cuff. Sometimes, I'm totally, it's fine. I know that they're joking, but it all depends on how they're using it, I guess. I would agree with that. Yeah. So it depends on how she's using it, but I really think that the poster, she's not trying to find out how she means it. She's just taking it. Like, I agree that they're taking things too literally, but if not, like, then why not ask how she's supposed to take it? I don't know.
Because you're now saying you don't know anything
going.
about me. Yeah. We should look at the thing.
The poster right to bar Andrea. Oops, forgot me. House. At the end of the day, though, I still stand by if you don't feel safe with a person there, then you don't feel safe. Like, I don't see why you should have to, so at the end of the day, I don't think she's wrong, just that she could have done stuff better. I kind of think that no one's really wrong here. It's just, as Hill Hugger was saying, it's everyone should communicate better. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, everybody kind of That's in every single one. Everyone can communicate better.
There's
a lot of these.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll put the poll up. I'm just going to go through and see what the Redditors have to say about it first off, and then I'll go to the comments in the chat. So not the arsehole. Being a thief isn't the same as being kleptomaniac or a klepto. One of the key factors of diagnosing kleptomaniac, which is legit rare medical health disorder, it absolutely is a roller coaster of emotions about the theft. A kleptomaniac will not tell virtual strangers that they have stolen because the shame is for yes, absolutely. And that's what I was talking about. There's a lot of shame around. Andrea is ableist for rebranding kleptomania to justify her poor behavior. That is a good point. That is a good point.
That's what I was saying. Like, okay, you're going to throw ableist at me when you're joking about a disorder. So are you joking or not? Because if you're going to go to that length of calling someone an ableist, you're admitting to have the disorder.
Right.
So that's my question. So you admit it then? And they're like, I didn't mean it that way. What do you mean?
I know there are people say that being OCD is something, and they just mean they're being fastidious. I'm not well versed on kleptomania, but I thought her comment might have been those lines. I would say so. I would say that she's using it as sort of a metaphor for her just flogging stuff. Not the arsehole. I said that her being proud to call herself a klepto was all I need to know. Great response. Yeah, not so sure about that one, Chief. AITA, I assume that she meant you're ableist because she sees her kleptomania as a disease. She is toxic. Yeah, so it's not ableist to say, hey, you have this illness and it is a disorder. A disorder is termed so because it creates significant disorder in the person's life. That's essentially what it is. It makes it difficult to live. So it's not ableist to say, hey, somebody with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, has a hard time living and it's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem. Like that's not ableist. That is the facts. It's like sort of saying somebody that is paraplegic has a hard time. That's not ableist.
You're just
they have a hard time. Right. They can overcome it. They can manage it. There's things we can do to help. There's all kinds of stuff. And there's no reason why they can't live a productive, healthy, wonderful life equal to anybody else's. But it's not ableist to say, hey, that's a disorder and, it's a worry. That's not ableist. Ugh. Not the arsehole. Those defending her are more than welcome to have a klepto Andy. Okay.
Klepto Andrea,
Andrea in their house. I'd say no too. She is entitled to an invite to your home no matter the circumstances. I do agree with that too.
Yeah.
If you don't feel safe with her there, then you are no obligation. People who make these comments have to learn there are consequences to their behaviors. Even if she is exaggerating the issue, you aren't ableist or high school mean girl protecting your property. Yeah, maybe.
She's acting a little bit. She seems like an immature person anyway, from what I'm gathering. But this group of people just seems to be one of those. Yeah, because the next one, I had a girl in my sorority describe herself as self-diagnosed klepto. If she saw something she liked, she just couldn't help herself.
Yeah.
So boasting about it means that doesn't really mean klepto. That's the opposite of klepto, really. It's like the other person said, you would feel bad and not tell anybody. This would be like alcoholism. If you really felt ashamed of your drinking, you'd cover it up.
Well, that's not necessarily the case. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, so I wouldn't make blanket statements. I'm aware that a lot of kleptomaniacs have a lot of shame associated, but I wouldn't go so far to say as that is the normal. There is no people out there with kleptomania that don't revel in. I wouldn't say that. So I don't know enough about it to make that call. But yeah. Just a word of advice. Anyone brags or claims out being a bad person, you should always believe them and act accordingly. Yeah. If she didn't want to be treated like a thief, she shouldn't have been bragging about being a thief. If she was lying and wanted to sound cool, that's her problem. Well, I get what they're saying. Yeah, so I kind of think, let's see what we got in the comments. Deviant. And Jason Jacoby says it's her house, her right to decide who comes in. But if I was in her shoes, I might just put things away before she came. Yeah, hide the silverware, right, Jason?
Right.
Yeah, no, I
Well,
get you, mate. Yeah,
that's a compromise. Yeah, like anything
that's
of
a good
value.
compromise. Yeah,
Yep.
hide the silverware.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go to a Botox party with a kleptomaniac. It can turn out badly.
God knows what they do.
Reed S says, I'm confused. Is this person genuinely a kleptomaniac or not? If she is diagnosed kleptomaniac who's owning and controlling her condition, then it could be heartless to kick her out. And I'm kind of on board with that, yes, if they are really making an effort. But to me, it's framed as if, they're proud of stealing stuff, which, if somebody is owning and controlling their condition, I don't see why they would be proud. I don't think anybody that is sort of owning and controlling their condition is proud of being that way.
No.
I'm not 100% sure. He goes on to say, if you decide about someone in your mental condition, they kick you out of the house because you were honest about it and haven't stolen them. I don't know. And I don't know either, Reed. I really don't know. That's sort of what I'm saying, that it all depends on whether she does actually have kleptomania or not. Because a lot of people like OCD, like, schizo, I was feeling a bit schizo, they're not actually saying they have the disorder, but her comments seem to say that she does.
Yeah.
So I would hope the person with kleptomania would not be offended if I politely and without judgment asked if they had anything before they left. Yeah, I would agree. But all of this hinges upon whether she's just sort of saying it as in, she steals napkins from the restaurant, or whether she does have an uncontrollable urge to take things whenever she sees them and wants them.
Yeah. Well, the OP mentioned to somebody that she stole stuff from a children's store. So it sounds like something she did as a kid and got away with.
Yeah.
Like it sounds more like the getting away with it is what she's boasting about, not so much the actual. But I wouldn't call like minor leagues juvenile shoplifting kleptomania.
Yeah,
she's framing it badly to make it out to be like she's
Also, proud might be misreading of her attitude. It's really hard to judge these one-sided accounts. Yeah, always read. And we got to keep in mind there is another side to the story. But sort of all we can do is take it at face value of how it's written, and while realizing, hey, there's another side to it. Well, I think the easiest thing to do is just to have a heart-to-heart and say, hey, I'm not judging you at all, but do you actually have? Are you diagnosed with kleptomania, or is that just speaking a turn of phrase?
Yeah.
I think that might be a really good idea. But yeah, I do like. Do you have a gamble at lunch at a casino? Right. Or invite an alcoholic out for beers. It might be a problem. And that's what I was sort of saying, avoiding triggers, these triggering situations.
Yeah.
A kleptomaniac is capable of being honest after having stolen due to compulsion. I think that would vary, Master Maverick. I think it would be all what sort of circumstance they're in, who they're with, what stage of their journey. If there's no consequences to it, they may very well sort of fess up. But yeah. Okay. Well, that's the first one. Do you want to grab the second? It is no ad. It is Ali Ramadan.
Okay. Am I the A for telling my older brother he deserved to be dumped after he made fun of me for crying?
He made fun of you for crying, and so you said you deserve to be dumped.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is going to sort of our coping modes, right? So our how we react to certain situations. So you're upset, which is vulnerable child, like that sort of, when you're feeling very sensitive, and we've all been there, right? We've had a hard day where we're feeling very sensitive and someone makes fun of us and we're hurt, and that's a vulnerable part of ourselves. And then obviously he made fun of you, and what kicks up is the petulant child, the one that wants to just hit back, and it's very understandable, but it's also a 15-year-old guy. Okay, so it literally is a young guy. So no, I don't think necessarily, but I would probably say that to avoid that kind of thing, that's horrible, but
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's going to make it better
Mm.
saying that you deserve to be dumped. But at the same
Yeah.
time, you know, like if you can't take it, why are you giving it out?
Yeah. It sounds like a bad dynamic.
Yeah.
Hey Reddit, I'm a 15-year-old guy, and this week has been one of the hardest of my life. My dog Romeo, however you pronounce it, passed away unexpectedly a few days
Oh,
ago. He wasn't
rip
just a dog. A
Papa.
lot of people get what I mean. He was my best friend and the closest thing to me since I was 3. Got me. Didn't think it would hit me this hard, but it did. No, that's fair. That's like your childhood puppy. That's like
Yeah, yeah, that's
your
totally
growing up puppy. So that's
understandable.
your pal. That's your buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's your little buddy.
Absolutely.
Mm. Now here's the thing. My older brother, 20 male, okay, this is getting interesting, is the
20-year-old.
stereotypical tough guy, super popular, full of confidence, High School Musical type of shit. But he also has a bad habit of dismissing anything that doesn't fit into his worldview. We've never been that close. He thinks I'm too sensitive, and I think he's a bit of an ass, but genuinely thought he'd understand how much Romeo meant to me. I mean, even if he didn't care about Romeo, he could have at least respected that I did, right? You guessed it, he didn't. Okay, so he doesn't care about the grief of your own little brother. Okay. Yesterday, I was sitting in the living room looking through old photos of Romeo on my phone, and to be honest, I was crying. I thought I was alone. Then my brother walked in, took one look at me, and started laughing menacingly. Literally, it sounded like a Doflamingo from One Piece. Okay, I don't know that character, but I don't know if they've been in the live action. If they haven't been in the live action, I don't know who they are.
I have no idea.
No idea. He said things like, "You're really crying over a dog, and man up, it's just an animal." Okay, so the brother's a douche and he's 20 and he should know better. If this kid was like 16 or maybe like younger, but if you're saying this is a 20-year-old person's behavior, this is kind of sad. I tried to ignore him at first and asked him to stop, but that just seemed to make him more of an asshole. He kept going, saying things like, "What's next? You're going to hold a funeral for him," and even pretended to cry in a mocking way. Okay. I don't know what changed in me, but I snapped. I was hurt, angry, and just so fed up with how shitty he was being. I remember not long ago his girlfriend of 2 years had broken up with him. Ever since, he's been moping around the house, blasting sad breakup songs and talking to anyone who listened about how heartbroken he is. So I looked him dead in the eye and said, at least my just an animal loved me. Your girlfriend clearly didn't love you the way she cheated on you. And at least my dog died loving me and your girlfriend is still alive and didn't love you. Shots fired. He froze. He froze, completely silent. His face went red, and he stormed out of the room without saying a word. Fast forward to later, my parents heard about what happened, thanks to him, of course, and told me I was out of line. They said I went too far and that I should apologize because I was cruel. They said I was cruel. What I said was cruel. But here's the thing, I don't feel like I owe him an apology. He mocked me while I was grieving, dismissed my feelings, and only stopped when I hit him where it hurt. I know what I said is harsh. I know it wasn't the nicest thing I could have said, but honestly, he started it. If he'd just shown me a shred of emotion or even left me alone, that I wouldn't have gone there. Now my parents are pressuring me to make things right with him. I don't see why I should have to apologize when he's the one who started being shitty first. Am I the a-hole? An addendum. Hey everyone, thanks for everyone's support. I love deeply and appreciate it. I'm very sorry that I can't reply to everyone's comments, but truly appreciate everyone's opinions and very grateful for everyone who actually cares to help. I will definitely read all of them to try and figure this out. Thank you. So it sounds like people rush to hear this kid's defense, because how do you get to 20 though, and then you run to your parents and cry about how your little brother picked on you? Like, again, how do you get to that age?
I would put it out there, like this was a couple of years ago, I would put it out there that a dog that you've had for years and years and years, he's had the dog 12 years, and is a member of the family, because pets are a member of the family, okay? Right. I don't think that you can just say, well, family has to be, the family is a group of people that live together, and a dog is adopted into that family. It is a part of the family. So a animal that is 12 years a part of the family would maybe mean more to somebody than a girlfriend somebody had when 18. I'm really sorry, but it wouldn't mean a lot more to me than a girlfriend I dated at 18. And yeah, it hurts at the time, but you know, I don't see why a dog isn't worth that. And you know, I totally get that you sort of lashed out to he's hurting you, you hurt him, and I get that. What I don't get is why it's all his fault when he didn't initiate any of this.
No. So the brothers obviously left out the context of, well, why did they say that? He's just gone and said, look, he said nasty things to me. It's like, well, I'd be like, well, what was going on at the time? Because if their kid doesn't say stuff like that normally and go, well, that's a bit strange, like they don't lash out normally. But it sounds like he's he's like the favorite brother or something, and just the fact they're just taking his side. But like, why the parents aren't comforting this kid? Do they all think that he's making too big a deal over this dog? Or because if this other guy's making big deals about a girl that just walked out of his life, I don't get why the parents haven't gone, well, maybe he's still upset about the dog and you should leave him alone. Like, nobody's factored that in. Like,
yeah,
that's not fair.
I don't know why the parents wouldn't understand why the dog is so important to their child, though.
Right. You would have got the dog for them and seen them grow up with the dog and how affected they are with that dog. Like, usually parents have...
Why are you supporting this toxic behavior from your oldest son? Because that's absolutely toxic. Like, you're crying over a dog. What,
it's
man
toxic
up,
masculinity. Literal
absolutely
toxic masculinity being like thrown, and this poor kid has the audacity to retaliate against something. It's just, no, I don't agree. I don't think that he should have to apologize, or at least he needs to give context as to why, and that they both should apologize to one another at the very least, if you're going to bury hatchets. It's like, I'm sorry I picked on you about your girlfriend, but you gave me shit for my dog dying. Like, I don't see how that conversation hasn't arose from this situation. Like, the parents have just come in and told the kid to shut up and say sorry.
Yeah, so what I think the parents should be doing is mediating a conversation between them to get them to understand that when you hurt somebody, they may hurt you back. And that's not right. We shouldn't do that, but that is what we do when we are hurt. We try to defend ourselves, essentially, and you have to expect that. So if you don't want to be hurt, don't hurt others. It's called reciprocity. If you don't want to be hurt, don't hurt other people. It's very, very simple. And the idea that, hey, he hurt him first. Yeah, he didn't come to you and sort of hass you about the girlfriend. So no. I think that, I mean, the parents are the ones I'm most angry about. That, seriously, like, what the hell?
Like, I don't know whether his dad doesn't. It would seem like if the dad would be like, "What, you let your 15-year-old brother, like, what are you upset about?" Like, they've got no context. They've just taken his brother's side and said, and it seems like, he's been spending the last 2 years behaving exactly how this kid's behaving. He's not getting over it. He's making it everybody else's problem. This kid's trying to grieve in private because he clearly can't tell people how he feels in his own household, which is what I'm gathering. So he's trying to get through this problem, and the 20-year-old can't even process a breakup and doesn't. I don't know. I just feel like, coming from a 20-year-old guy to your own little brother, has it always been that way? Have you always just dismissed his feelings? And I don't think he's an arsehole. But I don't. Is the question, should he apologize?
No, I don't. I think he's fine. I think he's absolutely fine, to be honest with you. I think that, he reacted petulantly. That's expected from a 15-year-old. We've got to get a bit of leeway to this guy. He's not, the other guy has 5 years on him. Why is he the one acting so childishly?
Exactly. Like, that's humiliating. Like, why are you letting a little kid make you feel bad about something, and then going to your parents you're both 6 years old and one of you hit the other one, and then you run off and cry to your parents and make them make you apologize?
Well,
like, how old are you?
Well, it's like sort of, slapping somebody and then they rear back and give you a massive slap across the face, and then going and running and telling someone and going, oh, they
Exactly.
slapped me back. It's
Yeah,
like, well, yeah, they
that's
did.
right.
What are you talking about? Of course they
Yeah,
did.
they did. Yeah.
What did you expect them to do? Just,
Yeah.
stand there and take it? What are you talking
Right.
about? Like,
Yeah.
the fact that he went to the parents is so, if you
That's
hadn't
the
attacked him, he wouldn't
childish
have done
part.
that.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just
Absolutely.
yeah. Are we putting up a poll?
Absolutely. But the poll is up. Do you want to go through some of the comments and see what the Redditors have to say?
Yeah. What you mean in the Reddit page? Not our
Yeah, on the
commenters.
Reddit
Yeah.
page.
Okay. Yeah.
No, our commenters
Okay.
get the last word. They get the last word.
Nice. First one's not the arsehole. Ask your parents where they were when he starts teasing you. Tell them no. A 20-year-old who makes fun of a sibling for crying over a pet is heartless. It also makes me wonder if he has a mental illness. He may be a psychopath or a sociopath. I wouldn't go that far. I suggest you stay away from him. He has some serious problems. I cried like a baby when my pet died. Tell your parents he's 20 and not 2 and he needs to apologise. Go low contact with him, I'm assuming that means, and move out of the house.
Well, if the older brother apologizes, probably the younger one will too. That's the
Right,
thing. If you can,
that's
you know,
you can facilitate that discussion. As
I
parents,
think as parents, you should be saying, "Hey, you've both
like,
done something wrong here." But if you do something, if you wrong somebody and mock them, they're going to mock you back. If you hurt somebody, they're going to hurt you back. You can't
right, you
initiate
can't
these
just.
things. Right. Sorry for your
I'm
loss.
going with
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going with the not the arsehole. Was it?
Yes, it was harsh. Yep. A very brown girl nerd. There you go.
Yeah, brother pushed you to this point, especially how callous he was being, also very hypocritical. He can grieve over his failed relationship, but you can't cry over a beloved member of the family. That's rich. My fur baby passed away a few years ago, and if someone treated me the way he did, I would have had an outburst too. Stand your ground. If you do apologize. Like, I'm sorry for saying this, even though you mocked my pain, and sorry saying dogs don't matter. I'm sorry that you faked crying when you invaded my personal space to make fun of me and dismiss me. I'm sorry that your feelings seem to matter more. This calls him out. Okay. Honestly, he's 20. He's an adult. You're a minor. His behavior is appalling, and your parents lack awareness is also. Yeah. Like, he just sounds like he's the favorite brother, and this kid's just an afterthought. Like, I mean, that might be a stretch. I wouldn't say that this guy is necessarily sick in the head. He's got toxic masculinity issues. So
yes,
is the dad treating both their kids for crying badly, and that's where he got it from, or does he just think it's weak to cry over something?
I don't know.
He can cry as much as he wants over his girlfriend.
It's not necessarily your parents where you pick this behavior up. You can pick it up from people at school, bullies at school, or your peers at school, or your friends who mock that kind of thing. There's a multitude of places you can pick it up. You might have been reading way too much Andrew Tate or something and thought that he was really cool.
He's on the Andrew Tate bus. Yeah,
he's an absolute idiot. Okay. There we go. Sorry. So I don't necessarily blame the parents for, the older brother sort of subscribing to toxic masculinity, but they shouldn't be supporting it. That's a problem. Okay. Thanks, Reddit. He shits over a little brother and deserves it. Okay.
Yeah, I think the other aspect is the pet part of it. I think people who have owned pets and been upset get very defensive of other people's grief being not taken seriously. I get that sense. Like, yeah, like they take it a lot harder than people realize. And yeah, again, he grew up with this animal. Like, it's been a big part. Like, anybody who's had a pet for a really long time and gone through bad situations with said pet, the pet was the constant. When you move a lot, but you've always got the cat, and the cat leaves, it's like that's a part of your life that's gone, and it's not coming back. Grief is weird. Like, grief, it affects people in different ways, and it will make some people feel like absolute crap. So they're allowed to feel however they want about the grief. you should not be judging anyone for how they grieve unless they're hurting other people. Again.
Right, exactly. Unless that grief spills over to hurt others. And I totally get that. And you can grieve over different things. You can grieve over the loss of a job. You can grieve over the loss of a house. Like a lot of people that, you know, are currently going through the Californian bushfires, for instance, that they will be going through literally the stages of grief over the loss of their lives. And I did have that link for anybody that wants to contribute to the California bushfires. I think it's horrible what has happened, and you know, they will be going through this kind of horrendous feelings and things like that. I know that you sent it to me at one point. I just got to find it.
Probably a fair way up.
You're amazing.
I can't remember when I sent it though. It was a few days ago.
That's okay. It's probably about a week ago, I think.
Yeah.
Roughly. Oh, there we go. I got it.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So I might pin that. So if you do want to help the people in California, there's a list. I'm sure it would be greatly appreciated. I'll pin that to the top. Yeah. Because I can and I want to. I'll see what the people in the studio. Oh, there we go. Ember says, "Hi, Sarah. Thank you for the book." So you got the book. That's awesome. Awesome. Jason says, "Sarah, nice to meet you."
Hello.
There we go.
Nice to meet you too. Hello.
Look, my chat honestly loves you more than they love me. I got to be honest with you. That's
oh, I don't know.
That's
they respect you.
I'm just going up to the start. I don't know how divorce came into the chat. I dread to think probably somebody in the chat making unsubstantiated claims. Probably. Deviant says losing an animal is equal to losing a close family member. Yes, absolutely. The brother sounds like he has a very weak, if at all, capacity for empathy while wallowing in self-pity. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I don't know. There's definitely some people I know that would be affected more from losing a pet than losing a sibling.
Right.
And, you know,
that is what it is. It's the emotional attachment. It's not necessarily the thing itself.
The older brother sounds manipulative and self-possessed and lacking empathy. Sure does.
Yeah, I think he's just been socialized to treat male sorrow as a bad thing, and I think that's a very common problem. I don't necessarily think it's pathological. I think it's sociological.
Yeah. So the toxic masculinity that you sort of see is this idea to man up and not express or even acknowledge any feelings that you may have. So things like sorrow, grief, fear, things like that. The problem with that is that these feelings, the best way to get through them is to acknowledge and feel them instead of suppressing them. Because when we suppress feelings, they come out in a wide variety of very bad behavior because they have to be expressed. You can't avoid it. It's one of those things that, and that might take a variety of forms for people. Like, I'm not saying any way is right, but being able to express it, especially not, you know, oh, I'm not afraid of anything kind of toxic masculinity kind of stuff. It always comes out as anger, and that can be incredibly destructive to both yourself and people around you. So this whole idea of these negative feelings shouldn't be expressed is just harmful. Look, I think wasn't it Pixar that did Inside Out? They did a whole freaking movie about it. You can't get away from your kids, bad feelings.
Technically.
And that was for kids. Well, yes, it was. But I saw it and Bing Bong, rip Bing Bong, forever remembered. Anyway, I think that whole thing was based around the fact that we now know suppressing feelings is not healthy. It's just not healthy.
Well, it's a wider conversation now in the realm of, dare I say, politics. People are trying to explain two people who are angry at these men that they need to feel their feelings. We're just asking them to
Right.
feel their feelings and try to provide a space for that where you don't feel like the need to be destructive, unless the destructiveness is contained in a healthy space. So nobody's, we're asking these people to just be more human, I guess, or just be more respectful of other people's stuff.
It's sort of also being able to express it in a way that's healthy, because a lot of the time, men that can't express their feelings, they will go from seeming detached to, you know, furiously aggressive in 2 seconds flat. They're volatile is how I would describe them. So if we can express our feelings in a way that is healthy, it won't be that pressure cooker that builds up and explodes. And you know, I've heard a lot of women, I don't know if you can attest this, but it you know, they sort of say it comes out of nowhere, and that's because they don't communicate what they're feeling at all, like the frustration, upset, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
it just
feeling,
seems like
yeah,
a light switch flick sort of thing. So everything,
right,
but they're not seeing what's going on underneath.
Right.
Yeah, no, I can sort of sense that better than I used to. But yeah, sometimes being at home and just like suddenly your dad's just yelling about something apropos of nothing to you, but that's
Yeah.
obviously them venting, and it's shocking. It's a shock to the system, but it's not
Yep.
coming from nowhere. Unless they, you know, hurt
Right.
themselves or something like that. A lot of the time, that level of anger is coming from somewhere. Because if it really
And it's
wasn't
been,
coming from a source of pain, it wouldn't
yeah,
be so explosive.
and it's been bubbling there for a long while. It's just that while you sort of, and I do see women sort of say, hey, I'm getting frustrated, this is really frustrating, you know, and sort of express it. Men are supposed, you know, they feel like they can't do that, and that's wrong.
Right.
You should be able to say, hey, I'm feeling scared, I'm feeling
Yeah.
upset, I'm feeling, you know, all of these different things, to be able to express what you're feeling, so that when you do finally go, oh, I'm in a, you know, state, it's not this, well, we didn't see that coming. It you know, I don't know. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah.
I try to communicate.
Ironically, you were the better one at that. I've had to learn that. Ironically, you're the one that communicates better than I do. But that's me coming from an environment that wasn't taught to communicate effectively either.
I don't know about that. There's certainly, I think I've gotten a lot better over the time that I've known you. I think that certain, you know, I think that sort of when we first met, I think I wasn't particularly good at it, but you know, I've done a lot of stuff since then, a lot of therapy, and a lot of, you know, communication stuff since then. So I think I have gotten a lot better, but you've gotten a lot better as well. So
you've got to give people chances to see if they can get better at things as well.
Why doesn't the older brother care about the dog? That's a good question. He may feel alienated from his family. He may feel like caring for animals is a sign of weakness. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe he didn't get a dog and this kid did, and it wasn't, or the brother took the dog too much and made it his dog. I don't know.
But
say
here's
so.
the weird thing. He didn't say you shouldn't be upset about the dog, as far as I know. Give me one sec. He was sort of saying, hey, you shouldn't be crying, kind of thing.
Well, he said, are you really crying over a dog? Man up, it's just an animal.
Well, I suppose so, yeah. But
yeah, so he's diminishing it. Yeah.
Right, but he may not feel 100% fine about it either. He may be, but sort of, you know, if he's been taught, hey, you don't show these feelings, it may be more about him showing the feelings than actually feeling the feelings. It may be, hey, why aren't you manning up and not showing that you're upset like I am? And so we have this horrible thing about toxic masculinity. When somebody sees another guy crying or suffering, the toxic masculinity says, hey, that shouldn't be happening, because I'm not allowed to do that. You know,
it
like,
all becomes,
right, it all becomes this, well, I've got to uphold this weird ass code
alpha male thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's and it is. It's deflecting your problems. Like, well, if I can't cry, then you shouldn't cry either. Like, none of us should be allowed to feel that way, and that's weak and whatever. But
Yeah.
This guy just sounds like, yeah, maybe he's been picked on for crying and the brother doesn't know about
Right.
it like this. And he's just like, well,
Yeah.
now I'm just seeing behavior that I was criticized for reflected back at me. So it's more about the brother. It's not about the kid, I don't think, as much. Because if they were closest brothers, yes, the brother wouldn't care why the kid's crying. He would, just
Right.
care that they were crying.
Right.
And he's just bullying him. He's just bullying his own little brother over having emotions and expressing
And
them.
that brings us Sterling Nash. Older brother sounds like
Mm.
a bully, then cries to the parents. Yeah, he really does.
Yeah. Mm.
He really does. And it's incredible the amount of times that, or the amount that I see that people are bullied and turn into bullies themselves.
Mm.
I did.
Right.
I did
Yeah.
for a short while. I was picking on people just because when you are a subject of that, you get convinced that that's the only way to be, kind of thing, and it's not right. It takes a lot to break out of it. So you get people that are abused pass that abuse on to other people, and so I think you may be right that he's been picked on for showing emotion and feeling a certain way, and he's passing that on to his younger brother, which is horrible. But what I don't understand is why the parents are encouraging that. It's terrible.
I don't know. That's sad.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Yeah, sorry about that, Emu War. I started that project. I didn't really have the energy with everything else going on to sort of continue it. I don't know. It just sort of didn't take off. I'm not going to blame my ADHD. I just wasn't up to doing an entire series, I think.
It was just
Nobody's fault in my own. It was a proof of concept that was basically, can I do this? And, I could always start it up again. I'll see how it goes. I'll see if I've got the energy to do it. But if I'm gonna, I'm not gonna burn myself out and kill myself making it happen, because it was a lot of work.
It was. It's lots of stuff.
Okay. I have to say this again, says DD of an Outcast. The older brother is showing lacking empathy, self-possession, and manipulative behavior. He fucked around a very callous way and couldn't handle the finding out. Well, yeah, I agree with that last bit. But it's odd to say that he's lacking empathy. I get what you're meaning. He's not having empathy for him, but he may understand how upset he is. And so empathy is knowing how somebody feels, kind of thing. And he may know how his brother feels. He just doesn't like the projecting of that weakness, or what he sees as a weakness over the dog. So does he lack empathy? He certainly lacks something. I think so. I think he lacks compassion more than anything else, though, Deviant. I really do. Just compassion for other people, and sort of that sort of very hard line sort of callousness is usually the product of someone imparting it upon them.
I don't even know if there's a difference between saying if it's a psychopath thing or just an egotistical thing. It sounds like a bruised ego problem too, just the ego being triggered by the weakness shown by others, and that's the way you respond to it. That's got to have context somewhere. I don't necessarily know if there's something definitely wrong with the brother, or his ego can't handle certain things. I never know how to frame those things anymore, because I don't know whether we're trying to chalk it up to a pathological thing again, or it's just a sociological thing, or a behavioral thing. I don't know. That's where the lines get a bit blurry, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And ways to be human. AJ says, as a kid, I cried for days every time one of our horses passed away. We had a few over the years, and they're important to me. I'm really sorry.
That would be tough.
And it seems like a weird trick to play, that everything, usually all animals have like a lower lifespan than we do. It's a very strange thing. And of course, we're gonna miss people as well. It is sort of part of living that it does end, and that sucks. It sucks, but feeling it and accepting it and living with it, I get you. And nobody should hassle you for that, AJ. That's not cool. That is not cool. Yeah. Mark Ray, just learned the Cali fire has spread to where BBM is. Oh, he's safe to know. I'm scared. Oh, no. It's not getting any less fiery. Yeah, so this is the problem. It's not really the fire that's the problem. It's the winds. The winds are causing it. They're blowing and we know this more than anybody being in Australia. When it's not the fire that gets you, it is the sparks being carried by the winds. It is brutal. And they have the Santa Ana winds coming over the mountains that are just causing absolute chaos.
Yeah, you get a bad easterly over here. That's why we worry about fires in our hills, because one bad wind coming off those hills, it spreads into areas nearby. I think that's how a lot of the fires here start to spread.
Can we have some banhammers in the chat? All right, I am not letting my chat turn into someone complaining about somebody else's moderation. Get out of here, man. Like, seriously. Don't discuss moderation. Don't discuss other moderation. See you, buddy. Enjoy. I warned you multiple times. Multiple times. Don't disrupt the chat. But you still want to, so that's what you get. You get the good old banhammer. Schmack! Can you say bonk?
Bonk.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Yeah, look, it says I schooled Grayson. I don't think you've ever debated Grayson. I don't think you've debated anybody. It's just a troll. Okay, with Deviant says, with the brother being manipulative, what I'm referring to him is him going to the parents and portraying the events in such a way that they are now turning against the younger brother too. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, they're portraying it in that way. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That I was doing nothing, and but why don't they listen to the younger brother? Because I think he explained
what the
I went too far, and I should apologize because I was cruel. Yeah, I don't know how it was described. We don't know that, but it certainly does sound that way, because I would have thought hassling him for crying over your beloved dog dying would be incredibly cruel as well.
Right. Where's the punishment for that? Of course, he's left it out of the conversation. But yeah, again, as parents, I'd be like, well, what was he saying to make him say that? Because they've just left out the context of this kid being upset. That's just been completely glossed over. It's weird.
No. Oh, I see. Aunt Jer addressed the guy. Too late now. Yeah, sorry guys. I've had enough of him. Like this kind of, this is just ridiculous. Jason Jacoby says it definitely sounds like the older brother is a troll. Yeah, they're around.
Feels 4chan.
They're around. Yep.
You don't troll your own family. Like, come on.
Did I highlight my own comment? I reserve the right to highlight my own comment, Phantom. I reserve that right. There we go. I will highlight that one. Damn right.
Haha.
Why? Is there a reason why I shouldn't highlight my own comments? Okay, that sounds prejudiced to me. That sounds like, empathy does not equate to weakness. I think it's the opposite. I agree, pragmatic. I think that empathy is the only way to make societies work, because if you can't understand where people are coming from, it just it doesn't work. It just doesn't. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. Oh god, bring back the Emu War Report. Make the project less cumbersome in its production. I don't know. I shouldn't be pushing that. It's been saying I really enjoyed it, and if you ever feel like it again, I'd be so appreciated. So you never have to wonder about that part. Your audience liked it. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh man, you lost it. What did you lose? My opportunity to analyze my conversation. Okay. What I mean by the old brother showing lack of empathy is that his behavior makes it seem as if he doesn't have empathy, whether he actually does or not. is, of course, impossible to say. Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. Yeah. When people talk about being woke, I think wisdom, openness, knowledge, empathy. Yeah, and I mean, it's just being aware of other people in society, other demographics whose experience may be different than yours. Like that's all it is.
We're not even sort of asking you to fix anything. And I think that's why they think wokeism is like, well, you're just asking us to fix all these problems and we can't be bothered. It's like, no, we're just making it's an awareness thing, and we're kind of sick of making people aware of it. But woke, we're just trying to bring attention to things that you've summarily ignored for a very long time. And the reason why you think it's a deluge is because you've ignored it for so long. You've put it in a closet, and now it's all coming out, and you don't want to deal with it. Tough. You've got to deal with it.
It's just
in some way.
Perception of your experience in society. There's a tendency to think that's everybody's experience. So when you come from, you know, a really rich family, you've been put through schools, you have a tendency to think that, oh, everybody gets the same opportunities. And that isn't other people's experience of what happens in society. And it's not saying you've got to fix it. What it's saying is be aware that their experience may be different than yours, that they may have experienced a totally different side to this, you know, late stage capitalism than you actually have.
Like you've
so
created
just be aware of that. That's
it's
it.
like saying, oh, everybody can afford to own a house now, or being completely out of touch with housing prices, and cost of living. Like that disparity that you insist that everything isn't as bad as theirs.
It's so weird to hear boomers go, oh yeah, but in my day I just bought a house by saving up, you know, for a year kind of thing. It's like your experience of this thing is not the
at this
same.
Point.
Right. It's like that. I don't know why they don't understand it.
Like if they'd actually looked at the house prices, like you can look at these things. It's all information that's readily available to you, but you live in a bubble of, well, I don't need to know that, or my experience never changes. It's like, well, that's insane that your experience will never change.
Well, if you think everybody's experience is the same, then you can't understand why some people need more assistance than others in society, or, you know, some people can contribute more to society than others. And like, you don't understand that. But when you understand that people's experience differs, you start to understand why we need to provide some sort of accommodation for people whose experience has actually been horrible, you know, just absolutely freaking terrible, you know. And if you can't even understand that people's experiences are different, there's no way you can understand why we need to accommodate some people over others. It just becomes well, I never got this, so why do you?
Like we all have to sit in the same boat effectively. It's like, well, no, that's not how that works anymore.
Reed, I agree. Same boomers will go to a fast food restaurant and complain about something. $16. No, I get
with no self-awareness whatsoever, which is ridiculous.
Well, I'm going to do one more. I do apologize for calling it early, but I could not get to sleep last night, so I'm incredibly tired. So my apologies.
That's okay.
But I will do this one. But it's been so good to see you all. It's been absolute blast. I feel like going on, but I know I'm not in a great frame of mind. I'm sorry. I've just been a bit, I don't know, random, untethered, all over the place. I've just been a little bit unfocused lately, and I've been trying to get back up and focused. It's been very difficult. But this last one is from Paranoid Girlfriend 88. Okay. You're paranoid already?
Oh dear.
Am I the a-hole for telling my supervisor that co-workers' comments about my weight made me upset? No, absolutely not.
That's you just reported discrimination. That doesn't make you that annoys me already, that you've actually brought up discrimination in the workplace, and suddenly you're the asshole. No.
I'll try, Jedi. I'm so harsh on myself. I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to.
We try to be kind.
Well, that's why I say be kind to yourself, because I have a lot of trouble being kind to myself, and I really am trying. Yeah, at a workplace, why is weight coming up at all?
Again,
That
something I just people. I could go on another rant about the way people personal experience, seeing other people experience, especially among women. It doesn't happen to men as much. Sorry, it just doesn't. You can have entire conversations with women just about what their weight gain issues are. Like that's the center of
okay.
the conversation is how much weight they've lost, or oh, I
Yeah, but
used to be so skinny.
but that's solicited, right? You're talking about it to them.
Right, but sometimes it's not because they'll just make comments about you. It's like this person, like this. Sorry, speaking from personal experience, people just come up to you and say, "Hey, have you lost weight? Are you this? You that?" Because they feel entitled to that information, and it's very weird that it's like, "Oh, I've noticed something change about you. I have to draw attention to it because I don't know how to converse with you in any other way." This is just me coming from personal experience as well, but just
Yeah,
why are we talking about this at work? Because I was in a team,
yeah.
a huddle, or whatever, morning meeting or whatever they used to call,
Mhm.
and this woman's like, we all should do a fitness thing and lose weight and have goal weights and stuff like that. And people were just like, and I'm sitting there going, why? That's your problem. Like,
Yeah, I
you want to rope
don't
people
talk
into
me.
this
Yeah.
mentality that's actually quite toxic and weird. And I'm
Mm,
uncomfortable with that. And I do that on my own. That's my
mm.
problem. My health issues are my problem. You
Right,
don't.
right.
And these are the people who want to do stretches at work and stuff like that to be healthy. And I'm like, that's great, but you don't do it in a workplace. You don't disrupt other people to fix
Well,
yourself.
I think
Sorry.
there is well, here's the thing. I've got nothing against people using work time for something healthy, like yeah, so ban evasion will also get you banned, just saying. You should be aware of this. There we go. Oh, thank you. Oh, don't time him out, just ban him. I'm just gonna goodbye. 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 No, I've had enough of you. Goodbye. You've had so many warnings and continue to be a complete douche. So goodbye. Like you're bringing up other people's moderation on the channel. You're disruptive. You're calling people names. You're just being a absolute tool. So no, see ya. If you decide that you want to act like a reasonable human being and have civil conversations instead of the garbage that you're doing, you can send me an email and explain why I should unban you. It'll be my capacity to judge you whether you are capable of having a reasonable conversation. So you can make your case there, and I will see if you deserve an unban based upon what you write to me. Thanks. See you in the next life.
Bye.
Yeah, get those ban hammers out. Goodbye. Goodbye. Yeah, don't come in and do that kind of nonsense. It's just no. I gave him so many chances, and still he's just acting the fool. So no, absolutely not. I don't go into Christian channels and do that kind of nonsense.
No, we don't.
So, I don't. Okay, so when I was younger, I was incredibly thin and I was incredibly sensitive about it. And people used to go, "Oh, you're so skinny," and it's like, why is that acceptable? And saying, but oh, that's right. We're talking about the sort of the at work, right? If they want to do something healthy at work, I've got no problem with it, but it should be voluntary, right? There
Yeah,
shouldn't
yeah,
be a compulsory element to it. I think that's
yeah.
really wrong.
My mate almost made it compulsory in terms of your KPIs will
Right.
be affected if you don't quit smoking. It's like, you can't tell me how to live my life like that. That's actually way over bounds.
Well, I mean, you did work for a healthcare
I
provider,
know,
kind of.
but still, it's so.
Like that is a fine line, right? How much if your
Yeah, we did
brand
take
is
that
built,
seriously.
and you know, I'm wearing
I
my
know.
brand shirt, so I'm just sort of going to, if your brand image, which they spend millions on, is
I
cultivated
know,
by
but
healthy,
yes.
someone wearing the uniform and doing something unhealthy can actually break the brand image. And you've
Yeah,
got to
no.
ask, when you join a company and start working for them,
Mhm.
how compulsory is it to uphold their brand, right? Like do you have an obligation to match up to their brand when their brand image may be out of, well, just about anybody's reach, right? Like, so if you
Right.
take Adidas or something, right? If you work in the factory for them, should you be an athlete? Well, no, obviously not. But that's the brand that they're projecting. So, do staff have a brand obligation? And I'd have to say no. No, they don't.
We were specifically told to not behave in any certain way whilst outside if we were wearing uniform, and one of those was if they don't want to see you smoking in that company's uniform.
Right.
So some people quit over that because they just felt that's too much of an imposition. I should be able to do what I want. So it did sort of slip over. We couldn't sell charity chocolates at work because somebody put a crackdown on that because that's unhealthy. They were sort of cracking down on all these sort of lifestyle factors, again, for the sake of the brand. And it rubbed some people up the wrong way and they either quit or that. But I think they did step on a couple of lines where, I mean, they were asking me about what medications I was on at one point. They were being really personal about my medical.
they're not allowed to know that.
Yeah, or they're not really, they shouldn't be penalizing somebody as a, you know, if you make personal goals and that's suddenly a KPI you've got to meet. That was a bizarre situation to be in.
That's just
that
wrong,
was
yeah.
And I think somebody eventually made that clear and then they just stopped doing it because I think someone came in and said this is becoming discriminatory, like forcing people. Like they didn't get to the point where they were forcing us to lose weight, but they were forcing us to go to health seminars. We had to go to some dietary thing. They were like making us go to these things that should be voluntary because they paid all this money for people to come in and teach us how to be healthy. It's like, you can't make people who work for you do absolutely everything right and become pinnacles of health. I think it was very intrusive and it really did. I think it rubbed people up the wrong way and they stopped doing it because they knew it's like, well, okay, well, how far do where's the line of, you know, free will and company policy? Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention the poll as well. I forgot to close it up. It was Poster morally right, and I kind of agree with that. I think it's harsh, but yeah, he did the right thing. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm quick, Jason. It happened so quick. Yeah, I'm fast, man. Like that ban hammer will come down in a
John Cena.
Look, I never like banning people, but at a certain point, you're just like, wow, that is so disruptive, and I'm just getting distracted, and they're talking nonsense and just talking rubbish. So, goodbye. Not going to miss you. Okay, let's read into this and see. So, I don't think so. I think that, I mean, Australia has very stringent laws on workplace bullying, incredibly stringent. If you're an employer and you do not address somebody calling somebody else a name, for instance, there will be hell to pay. What is it? Industrial Relations Commission is sort of an independent body that absolutely cracks it on that kind of stuff. Fair work is really important over here. You cannot be bullied in the workplace. If you are, there's going to be hell to pay. Unions will get involved. It's, you know, nobody does that. Who does that shit? Seriously? No. I, 27 female, told my supervisor that co-workers' comments about my weight had been upsetting me, and rightly so. That is upsetting, and under no circumstances. Right. For context, I've gained weight because I was extremely underweight and am now a healthy weight. The first comment was a middle-aged male telling me I got fat. Why does this suddenly sound like negging to me? Like that idea that, hey, if you put women down, this is terrible. Like that is so horrible.
Yeah.
He backpedaled when I made a face saying that he meant it in a good way because I was too skinny before. Oh, for fuck's sake, really?
Yeah, and tried to justify it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got fat, but I mean it in a good way. What the hell are you on? Like, no, he wasn't meant it in a good way. Come on now.
No,
what
nobody
the hell?
does.
But then continued asking if he was right. Dude, you've blown your shot. Go away. Like, seriously, get out of here.
Yeah.
Asking if I did gain weight. Then another middle-aged co-worker pointed at me and brought his hands up to his mouth to mimic eating and then spread his arms out wide to indicate a wide body. I ended up telling my supervisor because I don't think it's right for anyone to be making comment about anyone's body. Correct. That is not, you're at work. Like, nobody should be doing that.
No.
What if I was recovering from an eating disorder or something? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Correct. No, I'm just saying, like, that I want to make a shirt that says my body will not be accepting comments now or ever on its current state. Like, just something like, I do not accept comments about how I look.
Mm-hmm.
This is unsolicited for her in her case as well. She's just existing in a space. But go on. Yeah, I've got stuff to say.
Yeah. No, you say it. This is the place for it. Absolutely. She was appalled and brought it to my manager, who said it was disgusting and that no one should be made uncomfortable at work. So I figured I did the right thing. Yes, you did. Until I told my dad, and he said I shouldn't have done that because it's like tattletaling like a child, and now the co-workers will have animosity against me. Am I the asshole? No.
And this protects other people. This isn't just for
Yes.
you. It protects other people against the same discrimination. Because if they're saying that to you, they're going to say it to other people, and nobody's reining it in. Nobody's like the entitlement this guy had to come up and say and make that motion. I've had people do that to me. I've had people ask me how much, like I was having a conversation and someone said, how much weight did you lose? And I'm like, well, that's a very personal question. But I didn't say that. I said, well, I just lost as much as I had to. And they got offended that I didn't give them a number. They were offended that I didn't go, oh, I'd lost this amount, because they're so obsessed with these numbers. And I said, I just lost 20 kilos, because it's literally none of your business. But you feel entitled to personal information when it comes to weight, and just weight, not health, weight, how you physically appear to people, with no context of what that person is going through, whether they've got an illness, whether they've got, somebody said the other day they had like a lipedema infection that caused like swelling in the lymph nodes and things, and skin disorders, and they just get attacked for being fat. They've got an illness. They can't do anything. There's things outside our control that nobody in a workplace or in any circumstance has any right to say anything about. And this is in a work environment. And I could get why her dad said that, because parents are just like, oh, we put up with this crap again. You should too. You should put up with bullying in the workplace, because, you know, now your co-workers are going to hate you. No, nobody should put up with this. That is the point. And it should be addressed in all circumstances. It's abhorrent that people think they are entitled to just ask you questions about that specifically. That there's no barrier with these people, because they just don't seem to have an off switch for this kind of thing, or propriety.
Well, again, I think it's important to understand that people's perceptions of society, even workplaces, are different from your own, and some people think it's completely it's a great thing to discuss all of that stuff, and don't seem to understand that other people are more private. They don't like to discuss their work kind of thing. You get this a lot with people new in the workplace who want to discuss all of their sexual liaisons with other stuff, and you're like, listen, like, I get that you get into it, but that, I don't want to hear about it.
No.
And, it isn't appropriate for the workplace. This falls under exactly the same category, just a different subject. It definitely is. And to me, this seems like they are, they're just, trying to bully her around. And I can't see a reason apart from they think that it's going to, hurt her because they're horrible, or they're just negging her to somehow lower her self-confidence. So, they have a chance or whatever, which is apparently a thing that happens, which I was amazed by.
Yeah, negging is a very specific alpha male thing. It's one of those tactics they pick up in those stupid videos of, if I just diminish your self-worth, and then I can be the one that kind of decides what your self-worth is, and they seem to think that's going to get you attention from a woman. So I don't know, but sorry, just I'm more animated about the fact that anyone's making a comment about any of this, because it's something I've just, like, I'd show up after being away sick, and people would try to get information about what I was, my personal, like, because again, I had people at work who just come, oh, I was sick with this, and they go into every minute detail of what's going on with them. So then it creates this weird sense that everybody's going to be open about that. So when they ask me on, why, are you feeling better or whatever, I'm like, yeah, but it's none of your business.
Right.
So it's just this general attitude that people have that they're entitled to know whether this person gained weight or not just because they came in looking different or dressed different or something like that. It's just this. I don't understand it because I don't consider workplaces a social space. So I wouldn't talk about my personal life because I'm not there to socialize. And if this is part of your socializing at work is to just ask intrusive questions of other people and as a way of getting to know them, that's weird to me. And that's why I didn't get along with
weird,
people.
yeah.
It feels weird to me that you feel entitled to details about something that's got nothing to do with you, especially by the way I might behave as well. Like, fine if you want to be upfront with that, but again, time and place. Not everybody really wants to hear about your health issues. If you have like a little group at work that talks about that, that's fine. But when it starts to become just like conversation in the workplace, like anything else, like I'd hear people saying, "Oh, I ate this last night and I exercised this day," and I'm like, why do you think people care that much? Because the person you're talking to is barely listening to you. I'm sorry.
No, it's just you can
it's
get
triggered me.
consent for bringing up these things. You can say, "Hey,
Right.
do you mind if I ask you something personal?"
Right. And then
You
you
know,
can say,
doing
you know,
that and then going on to say, "Hey, you look like you put on a bit of weight." You know,
are you
is a lot
okay?
different. Yeah, are you okay? Is a lot different than saying, "Hey, you look fat." You know, that's a big difference between those
Yeah.
attitudes. But asking
Right.
first if you are allowed to ask something personal, and even giving the idea of, "Oh, if you don't want to answer, please don't." You know, this is just me
Yeah.
being
It's
like
I'm
you
just
can
showing
frame these
concern.
in such a
Yep.
way that you know it's not you just putting them down. Like you can
Right.
frame it in such a way that you're actually asking and sort of saying, you know, if then they say, "Yeah, I was underweight and put on weight," then you can go on. I mean, if you said, "Oh, you look better," like, you know, you can say, "Hey, you look really healthy. That's
Yeah.
fantastic."
You
You
look
don't
well.
have to,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't have to be an ass about it and come up to somebody going, "Oh, you look fat." Yeah, there's ways you can ask personal questions,
Right.
but be fine with them saying, "No, I don't."
I
No,
don't.
that's
Yep.
fine.
That's.
Totally
Yep.
fine. Yeah, absolutely
Yep.
fine. Not a problem.
But that's the mentality of even having the compulsion to say that to somebody. That I find bizarre.
Right. It is
Like it's like,
bizarre.
and like because we had, you know, you work with Muslim people who wear headscarves and things, and there's religious things that you know not to ask about because that's none of your business. But there's something about weight gain in people that they feel compelled to make a comment.
Well,
Like that's what I don't.
weight has always been associated in some way with social status in societies, right? So you
Right.
had the sort of, you know, during the before the French Revolution, for instance, you had like larger women and, you know, bigger men, big fat men being the pinnacle of you know, achievement in society because you had so much money that you could afford to eat a lot, and therefore
Yeah.
you had a higher social status. While being thin and, you know, muscular meant you were a peasant, and therefore
Right.
you know, you didn't have
Yeah.
a very high social status. But it seems like now it's reversed. Like we have being slim and athletic is because you can afford to go to a gym and do all
Right.
of this stuff, and you
Yeah.
know, do weight loss stuff.
Yeah.
That is now a higher social status thing. So
Right.
it's sort of you know, and you can afford to eat healthy, like, you know, healthy, good food that costs a lot rather than just junk kind of stuff, which may or may not cost, you know, like there's a big social thing associated with it. But why you're actually going up to somebody and commenting it, totally beyond me. Like,
Yeah.
it's just something we've got to drop.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Like yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I sort of get the argument that like the only time, yeah, weight might be an issue, but it does affect how do you do your job. Like, but again, that's a HR matter. Again, it's not for a co-worker to come up and say, "Hey, I think you're getting a bit too tubby to do this." I don't think that's even nobody's disability is anybody's business either. Just the audacity of some people to just feel like they have to say something. Like what world, like how were you, like weren't your parents didn't they tell you as a kid, it's not nice to just say stuff and ask them questions? Because you ask stupid questions as a kid. You're like, why is this person like this? Because you don't understand.
Maybe.
But as an adult at that point, why are you
Yeah,
even bringing it up?
But you see a lot of these guys on these shows sort of like, oh,
Right.
you're supposed to just put women in their place and stuff, their
Yeah.
attitude on it. And they're teaching that to their kids, and they were
Right.
probably taught that themselves, which is the
Yeah.
worry. You
Right.
get these shows where they're like, yeah, you're supposed to do this as a woman, and if you don't do it, then I'm gonna, put you down and make you feel like crap. And they think that that's perfectly acceptable because they're in this sort of toxic patriarchal kind of men are all bad, and they're going to teach that to their kids, so maybe they weren't taught that at all.
Yeah. No, they've got no
but that doesn't
concept of
mean
that.
we have to put up with your
No.
ignorance and
God, no.
yeah.
No.
So Linlug says, not the arsehole. Best thing you can do is respond right away to the person who actually said the inappropriate things. Say, why are you commenting on my body? Or I am not going to discuss my body or health with you, which is probably a good idea. Yeah. I need to work on my confrontation skills. And this is the problem. That women who confront people in a tense situation are seen in a totally different way than men are. And that's what I was talking about with your experience may vary. You might have somebody go, oh, you look like you put on a bit of weight, and you go, hey, that's none of your business, man. And as a man, you're seen
that's
as
fine.
just, that's fine.
Defending your...
Right. But as a woman, they say, hey, you're looking a little skinny, and you go, hey, that's none of your business. It's like, why is she being such a bitch?
Yeah, why
it's
are you being such a
exactly the
bitch?
same response. Right, exactly. It's exactly the same response. But, and so... Yeah, absolutely.
The perfect summation I heard the other day, and it's stuck in my head, is what is the difference between assertion and aggression? Gender and race.
Yeah, probably.
That just sums it up in a nutshell. Like, you being aggressive, you're a coloured woman. You being assertive, you're a white guy. Like, I know it's nutshelling, but
you're just a confident
or
man.
any woman. Like, and it is confronting. I was taken aback as well with people asking, because I'm like, I was just standing here and you didn't even say hello to me. You're like, you've lost weight. And I'm like, can you say hello? Can we have a conversation first, instead of you just being just fascinated with the way I look right now? Because I don't know what to say.
I feel like I would be just like, if they came up and said, oh, you've lost weight and you're ugly. And
you're loud and obnoxious and I don't want to talk to you. That's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling confronted. But I can't say that because you've got no context to how mean you're being or how inappropriate you're being. You think that's appropriate behavior.
Yeah, I was working with some guy who was kind of making those kind of comments, like, oh, you're this and you're that. And I sort of said to him, hey, I'm not comfortable working with you because you are way too aggressive, and he was like, oh, me? How am I aggressive? And it's like, I don't know, like, as you're sitting here demanding to know how you're aggressive, like, I don't...
Yeah, if you've got no concept.
Wow.
The self-awareness has left the building.
Oh,
at
yeah,
that point.
absolutely. Absolutely. They have all the self-awareness of a young Earth creationist, quite frankly, and that's disturbing.
It's so weird.
Not the arsehole. Your dad may be from a generation where men got away with this type of behavior and he hasn't grown with the times. It's disturbing that as a father, he thinks you should accept this. Yes, this. Like, why is your dad going, it's fine if random strange men comment on your body? No, we're not doing that anymore, dude.
No.
That time is over.
Yeah. The thing that really bothers me, that I've worked with older women who expect you to put up with that stuff too, because they did.
Yeah.
Like, especially with that weird sort of sexual harassment where a guy says something inappropriate and you take offense, and some of the women will be just like, well, we had to put up with that. Get over it. It's just a comment. It's just this. It's just that.
Right.
It doesn't make it right. So it's a generational thing. It's absolutely just, well, we've put up with it in our working lives. We've hit this point. We all thought it was a laugh and shrugged it off. So should you. And we're sitting there going, no, it was never funny. It was never appropriate. You were made uncomfortable and were forced to behave in a way that made it okay. This is why we still have the problem. It still exists because you diminished every single case of sexual harassment in existence practically. This is why it's still a problem 20 years later in the same workplace, and it hasn't been dealt with is because you turned a blind eye to it, even when it was at its most, what you consider trivial.
Yeah,
So
and
that's where we
what the
are.
Me Too movement was all about. It was like,
Right.
this stuff is not just an isolated case that is laughed off. It's going on everywhere.
It's not funny.
Not the asshole. Ignore your dad because I'm sorry. He probably someone who comments about people's bodies at work. Glad you have management that will listen to your concerns. Absolutely.
I'd only be
Because
worried about that. Yeah.
if you suffer from some sort of mental illness or some kind of issue because of that, they can be liable for that because they're providing a non-safe workplace environment. Look, mental illness can be just as bad as any other injury at work. You fall down, break your ankle, your work is liable if they did not provide a safe working environment. If you are at work, somebody abuses you, any kind of abuse, and you sort of have mental illness from that, they are culpable because they have not provided a safe working environment. So of course they care.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
Yeah. So it's especially a thing over here that, like, that's the one thing we do have is good workplace relation laws and unions, and most of the time HR, but not always. But having dealt with it, like, I don't know how people cope in environments where they have really low standards for that type of behavior, and you're just expected to put up with it. I can't imagine how horrible that is.
Well, I don't think people should. I think that if the workplace isn't able to do that, there's better places to work. You can't work in a place that's abusing you. There's no way.
No.
Art just says some people have eating disorders and you can't treat them like they need to lose weight. That makes it worse. Absolutely. And from the last one I was talking about, avoiding triggers. Give me 1 sec. I think I forgot the poll. I've neglected my poll duties, which is terrible.
Oh dear.
Was the poster right for telling management? And the people often that are sort of, oh well, it shouldn't be something to get upset about. It's just a joke and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're not on the receiving end of it.
Right.
When they are on the receiving end of it, suddenly it's a different story. And this is what we find in a lot of things. Everybody's willing to, I mean, not everybody, I shouldn't say that, but a lot of people are willing to point out people's weight, make jokes about them, hassle them, until they're hassled in return, and then suddenly it's run to the parents and tell them, oh no, he said something mean to me.
And they've got no awareness again of it affecting other people. Just you. It's only your. Well, I wouldn't react that way, and then you do react that way, and you don't even. Of course, you're going to react that way because you've been offended.
Yeah.
That the bottom line is you've been offended, and you're telling other people not to take offense to the same thing or anything else, or that they're being too serious. And then the minute something happens to you, it's like your righteous indignation has to be taken seriously.
But
where was that?
Management won't see it as, oh, you tattled, bad you. Management in most of these companies spend a lot of money and a lot of time trying to make an enjoyable workplace. The reason is because happy workers actually do better. They do better work. So they try and, why is your manager putting on, a cake day and, casual dress Friday and all of these things? And then, people are being asses to one another. They need to know if the environment isn't satisfactory, because that satisfactory environment is one of the things that will get them staff or lose them staff. And that's a big deal to business. So I think that this guy has just, the dad has no idea what he's talking about. There's just no frigging clue.
No. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad it was the dad and not the company, because I thought from this time, oh God, the company's made her feel that way. But no, the company took it seriously. Dad didn't. Thank God he's got no control over that. Don't let his antiquated, anachronistic opinion affect how you feel in this situation. Absolutely irrelevant in this point. She is not. I'm saying not the arsehole. Unequivocally, hands down, I'm not budging on that. That's clear cut. I don't even think it's a communication issue. She's
die on that
communicated
hill.
it. I will
Yeah.
die on this hill for this person because she did communicate the problem. She was very brave to go to a supervisor. That takes incredible gumption and self-assurance to go, hey, I don't like what this person did to someone in an authority. With the fear, they might go, well, you've got that supervisor could have gone tough, whatever. Management could have gone whatever. This guy needs to be spoken to, even just in a room. We don't need to make like a big production of it. He just needs to be taken aside in a meeting and said, not cool, dude, cut it out.
Well, the thing is, people make comments they don't mean and stuff, and I get that. Like, but when taken aside, I would say, "Oh, I didn't mean to offend them. I will apologize." And you say, "I'm very sorry. Didn't mean to, upset you. It wasn't my intention, but I can see how it would." And I absolutely try for it not to happen again. I really do apologize, and that's all you need to do. You can work it out. It's not a problem. It's not a problem.
No.
But the problem comes when people want to double down on it and go, and their egos go, well, no, it's just a joke, and they can't handle it. And it's like, no,
pussy, whatever.
They just have to have their egos step in, and it's like, just wow. Aunt Jess says, in general, people's bodies aren't anyone's business unless it affects their ability to do their job. Yeah.
Yes.
And we notice that less and less, Aunt Jess. We have automation and sort of, these tools. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that, we'll have mech suits working in construction and things like that. Even then, how fit you are or how physically able you are isn't even going to be a factor anymore. Like when we have robots constructing stuff and, doing menial labor, it's not going to even be a factor then anymore. So,
I mean, if anything, it's going to make us more sedentary if we don't have other reasons to, but then we'll have time to look after ourselves physically because the robots are here, but it doesn't affect your ability to do the job. So that Simpsons episode where he got fat just to work from home, that was ridiculous. But at some point, how we present ourselves won't be of any great importance.
Reed says, we have the same laws against creating hostile work environments, but we don't really have unions or much practical employee protections. Yeah, I know because I tried to start a union once upon a time. Yeah, and it's weird that people don't want to be part of unions. I get that.
Again, that's another thing that people are, I don't want to put the money in now, but here we get it back. So I'll put in the $200 a year, get it off on tax.
Hey, in Australia, union dues are a tax write-off.
That's the incentive because they do. Yeah, they do. We have good unions over here that get attacked by our union-hating governments for whatever, but we have them.
At the end of the day, if I put in union dues, I get them back in a tax return because they're a tax write-off. So I don't, I haven't actually lost anything from being part of a union, and people still don't want to join. So
and they still don't want to join.
Wild. It's wild.
I've had that conversation with people.
Why are these aged guys obsessed with her weight? Because they probably care about how a woman looks way too much. Like
they attack a pregnant woman for gaining weight because they don't understand how pregnancy weight works. Because they're like, well, I've seen these girls and they only put on the baby weight and nothing else, and then they snap back into these perfect figures.
Yeah,
some
women
do. Some don't. Some of them just because babies do weird shit to your body, and they don't have any concept of that.
It's almost like different women have different experiences in life. It's wild. I know. It's absolutely wild. I know. But I don't know. I think it's because middle-aged men are just obsessed with women and what a woman should be doing, and I don't understand it. It's weird. It's like Jordan Peterson going, middle-aged men to mansplain stuff as well.
Yeah, I've heard Jordan Peterson like, a woman wears, makeup to be sexually attractive, so why is she wearing lipstick to work? Because she freaking can, and it's preferable to because if you want to present yourself that way, he thinks that you're only going to that trouble to be sexually alluring. No, makeup is a personal choice. No. And again, he's a middle-aged man who would probably comment on people who don't take care of themselves, and he is a weight bigot, and his daughter's a health nut, and they have these opinions that are just stuck that you cannot move them because they think everything that's wrong with you is an excuse, not a reason to be that way. So they have such discrimination against anybody who can't fit to an ideal that's practically impossible at this point and isn't necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
So maybe these middle-aged guys are Jordan Peterson fans. Maybe they're Andrew Tate
maybe
fans.
they
Who knows? They shouldn't be.
Yeah. Most women just wear lipstick because it's a social norm. That's all. It's just a convention.
It's just a
That's all it
convention like
is.
anything else. It's just appearance things. And
Yep. You might as well ask why men brush their hair. It's not to attract a mate, Jordan Peterson.
no.
Not everything is
not
about
everything is
attracting a
about
mate.
base biology. Yeah.
Those middle-aged guys probably think their opinions are valuable. Probably. They probably overvalue their opinions. If someone asks how much weight you lost, you should answer in talents, but just the number, let them work it out. Nice. Let's see. Okay, Deviant, you've got a 3-parter. I love your sectioned parts, Deviant. It tells me how many I'm looking for up front. It's amazing. You're amazing. Oh, no, and fuck no. I cannot even begin to articulate how utterly, unquestionably wrong these co-workers are, having suffered from anorexia for decades. Oh, I'm so sorry, Deviant. Proud to say I've been relapse-free 12.5 years now. Congratulations. It was a close once 5 years ago, but I handled it successfully, which only strengthened my self-trust. When I was first gaining weight, when I was still in recovery, which took 7 years just recovering, and someone would have made a comment like that, I can't even. She did the right thing. She should be lauded and not admonished. And yeah, just how brave 100%. And amazing it is that you made it through that. That is amazing, Deviant. Like, incredible. Incredible.
My doctor specializes in this particularly as well, and she said that like with the right environment and the right programs and the right supports, it is an illness you can recover from. Society makes it harder to recover from it because of idiots like this. Like society is making this condition very, like it's very difficult to recover from, but you can recover from it if people treat you the right way. And it was heartbreaking to be in hospitals with eating disorder girls because people are really mean to them. That they're really they use that sort of tough love thing with these girls because
it doesn't work.
They have it, and it doesn't work. And most of them, you could tell, and that's what my doctor was saying. They leave the hospital, they leave the constraints, they leave the structure, they go home. The parents can't put that structure in place. They're back again. It's a cyclical thing with that illness, and I totally appreciate that. She's gone, well, if we just make this like a holistic thing and a home-based thing, and she was trying to start that process of just like, well, how do we get this in their everyday life? Because we can't just put him in a hospital until they gain a certain amount of weight, send them home with no supports, and then come back and start all over again. It's just, and the hospitals probably love it because that's just money for them. But if you send them away with something concrete and all the therapy tools and things like that, it's recoverable. Like people don't have to die from this.
It's treating the symptom, not the problem. And the same thing happens in addiction. They basically put them in the hospital where they can't get access to they don't really treat the underlying problems that is causing that. And
put it to the side for
Right. Like in the case of anorexia nervosa, it's usually sort of self-esteem and body image positivity kind of stuff. Again, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist, but you know, it's not about the not eating food. It's about the problems causing that issue. So you have to address that, and they don't, especially addiction. And so you do get this. But luckily, things are changing slowly where we're going, okay, well, how do we address the underlying cause rather than just treat the problem, put them in a situation where they can't do whatever it is, whatever maladaptive behavior they're doing, and then let them out when they seem like they're not doing it anymore. That doesn't solve anything.
No. And it might be trauma informed. It might be just an unrelated trauma, like it doesn't have anything to do with the behavior, but you've not addressed it because you've not looked at how this eventuated. You're just trying to fix the visible issue, not the underlying issue.
He could just refrain from offering a comment about her body at all. Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah, that's like, you can just shut the fuck up. Have you ever tried shutting the fuck up? It's free.
Nice hot cup of shut the fuck. Speaking as a middle-aged male, the entitlement of some middle-aged males is bottomless as the ocean. They're the ultimate Karens. It's just that the world is more used to them Karening than womaning. Yes, maybe we should have a Kevin or something that's the middle-aged man that does it.
I can't remember what the...
Yeah.
It might have been
What
Darren at
damage
one
should I-
point. I think they were floating Darren as the male substitute for Karen.
Yeah, Darren. Yeah, okay. Darren is good. I like it. Sorry, all Darrens out there.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Don't
Sorry
mean you.
to
Yeah,
the
sorry.
Karens and Darrens.
Well, the Karen is such a. It's so weird that a meme just makes Karen like it's such an unused. No one's naming their kid Karen. Like nobody. It's just hilarious. I do the same thing when someone says they're pregnant. I preface it with, "Is this a good thing or a bad thing?" Before saying, "Great." Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You know, or are you excited for it, or you know, are you happy? You know, it's probably a good idea to start off with.
Yeah.
What is middle age these days? We say 40. Senior starts at 65. Middle aged is definitely, 40 is definitely middle aged.
40's always sort of been the same to be.
Yeah. I think 40 is a good call. Along with 30, 40, is that better?
That's true.
Yeah.
Because then you would say, well, if you're making it to 100, then it would be 50 to be pedantic. But
somewhere between 30 and 55 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like true middle-agedness is when you start feeling like you're the boss of things you're not the boss of. But I'm never reaching middle age because I never feel that way. Like seriously, I am the boss of nothing. Seriously,
I am lord of nothing.
30 is not middle-aged. I will ban all of you. It's just an argument about middle age.
Yeah.
Okay, Anje, you win. You always win. Yeah. Okay. Are we getting a poll for this one? Yeah, good point. No, I forgot.
Sorry about that.
Like seriously, I've been sleeping on the job. I wish Maya was here. Yeah, no, Maya is a HR manager. I presume that she wouldn't stand for that crap. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
That Maya would be like taking that person aside and saying, "Hey, do you value your job? Because if you do, you know, oh hi Robin, so good to see you." Yeah, and I agree, Jason. A good manager will cultivate a healthy. Absolutely, because that, you know, so this whole 80s idea of presumably that her dad was in of sort of personal exceptionalism, like, oh, just, you know, compete against those other people. It's not something that business is doing. Nowadays, we're looking for teamwork, because people, like, it's better to have a bunch of people that can work well together than just a couple of people that are fantastic but can't work with others. Like it really is about teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, and you know that's what you want. So absolutely, a healthy environment is conducive to good teamwork. How could it not be? Reed says the day we get mech suits to do construction is the day everyone want to be a construction worker. Well, I don't know about that one. I don't know. I mean, that's like saying the
trust
day
myself in one of those.
Well, that's like a Victorian saying, "Hey, the day that we drive deliveries around instead of horse and cart is the day that everyone is a delivery driver." And it's like, no, that doesn't change the actual work, mate. It really doesn't. So yeah. Okay, I just looking. Some people wear makeup for the sake of expressing their artistic creativity. Yeah, it's not for other people. It's fun. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a very
hobby.
good point.
It's a relaxing thing for them. It makes them feel confident. It makes them, I've worked with women who they can't go out without their makeup on. It's like if that's how you function in a day, like I have to wear comfortable clothes. If that's what gives you comfort in an uncomfortable situation, is looking a certain way. That's your entitlement. Nobody has the right to tell you what you're only doing that because you're trying to get attention or anything like that. And it's another thing that men just seem to be, certain middle-aged men are just obsessed with the notion that young women are trying to get attention because that's all they were told is just, if she's doing that, it's for your attention, so you get to comment on it and you get to have an opinion on it because it's entirely, make everything about you, why don't you? Like let's just make every single thing a woman does or anyone that you don't approve of does something about you.
Because of the breakdown in society. If you don't see things the way I do, society will just
fall apart. It's already collapsing. And you're not helping, sir. I'm sorry.
They're really not. They're really
Come on.
not.
Usually they're the culprit.
By the time I was trying to unionize my office, everyone hated their job enough not to be
Mhm.
minded being laid off. I tried to tell them, unionized, it could be a nice enough job to keep. Yeah, no, I hear you, Reed. And it's sort of like,
tough.
oh,
It's
I
tough.
hate this job. Well, let's
Mhm.
unionize. Oh, no, I
Unionise.
don't care if I
no,
lose the job.
Yeah.
But like that
Yeah,
fixes
no,
all
they
the problems.
it was great because people were like, oh, we had this meeting where management asked you all what the problems were, and they asked for all these, like, what can we do to help? And you all said nothing, and then you all went away and complained about all the things you didn't bring up because what, you like complaining about your job more than you like coming in and doing it. Like, some people really, they don't, when they're confronted about the thing that they're complaining about, they don't say anything, but they'll go away and complain about it with all the people in that group. So I've seen this toxicity sort of come out of, well, management gave you an open door for this, like, and we're upfront about wanting, like, we sense a problem, what's the problem? But then nobody wants to speak up. And whether they, like, the demonization of unions in the States just drives me insane.
Yeah.
But over here, it's more an apathy. It's more, oh, I don't want to pay money to this. And I didn't have a good experience with one union, so I don't talk to them again. I was like, but that was, again, 20 years ago when unions were a bit, they've gotten better.
Dodgy.
Like, they have a purpose. Because some HR in some companies doesn't always protect you. So you need an outside mediation. And I don't regret being part of a union. I don't.
We also
rather
have the Industrial Rights Commission as well.
Yeah,
so
we have
actually have
safeguards.
Yeah, there's
Right.
a lot of safeguards over here, which is probably why Australia has the highest minimum wage in the world, is because
we've had to fight for
actually,
it. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. But anyway, that I got 100% poster was right, which I totally agree with, and I would actually be worried if anybody voted against that one. I really would be. Yeah, so I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Sorry, Lynn, I'm feeling a bit.
No, we've done 2 hours. We're good. I've been keeping an eye
We
on
have?
time.
Okay, well, I was looking, last time I looked, it was like an hour, so that one took ages. I think we had a lot to say on that one because it's just so reprehensible.
I get very,
well, I think that if people are in that situation, being able to go to management and sort of discuss with them and really, it's best to work out how can, work it out in a way that is, how does it benefit you and how does it benefit me? So going and sort of saying, hey, I feel uncomfortable and, that makes me not want to be at work. And I do want to be at work, that makes me. So if we could address this issue, then, I'm sure there's other employees who may feel the same as me. We can get that sorted up and it'll be of a benefit for you. So I think always in work situations when I'm dealing with companies, I really try and frame it as what's in it for them. And that has served me very well over the years. So, that would be my suggestion. But again, that's just my opinion from where I'm coming from. But yeah, I think that there's no reason to take this lying down kind of thing. It's, as Jason said, a hostile workplace benefits nobody. Yeah.
We all lose.
Oh, Deviant's coming with a 4-parter. From my heart, I'm very serious. Thank you. Honestly, I'd make it here, but you are here. I still need to be conscious about. Yeah, and that's enough. That's okay. So just as the last thing, be kind to yourself. Oh, hang on, I'll go through the next of it.
Yeah.
When low moments, I can't do anything. I'm useless. I think that, Deviant, no, done up to now. That's number 1 on the list. If I can do that with all the other, that really resonates with me, Deviant. Like I think back to sort of climbing out of the nightmare that was high school, and the frame of mind that I was in there to get to here is an incredible change. Because that was a dark place that I clawed my way out of, very slowly and very horribly. So
you do the best with what you've got sometimes.
Managing to, like, being paralyzed on uni, I know I can do more than I think I can. It's okay. Because I've worked and earned some rest. No, that's totally Deviant, and that's amazing to hear, and all the best. And I'm so confident in you. You're amazing. But
Yeah,
thank
good
you to
feedback, yeah.
everybody. It's been
Yes.
a really cool one. That
Mhm.
last one may be a bit mad, but I can imagine
Mm.
it made a lot of people mad. So I don't like bullies. I really don't.
No,
Bullies
no.
really annoy me. They
Adult
are.
bullies annoy me. Do you know?
Yeah, but in some way, I think it's the way they try to convince you of something that is not true really annoys
Mhm.
me. That sort of, no, that you're worthless kind of thing, and it's like, because our perceptions, if all you're hearing from people around you is the same message, then sooner or later you'll buy it, and that's what's so insidious about it. That it's
Mhm.
multiple people doing this to her, because she might end up buying that because multiple believes, and it's not true. She's
Mhm.
healthy. It's not
Mhm.
true. Like,
Yeah.
that's what pisses me off about it.
Right.
So yeah, but anyway, be kind to yourself. Don't put
Mhm.
up with people bullying you or telling you there's something wrong with you, and be
Mhm.
kind to each other. At least if you do want to ask a question that may be personal, ask first if they're in a place to
Mhm.
receive it. You can get
Yep.
consent, and be understanding if they don't want to answer it or feel insulted by it. You can
Mhm.
always say, hey, that's not why I'm doing it, and I'm really sorry it hurt you. Because
Right.
even though you may not have intended to hurt somebody, that doesn't detract from hurting them with a certain
Mm.
inquiry or
Yeah.
question. And you may not have known that ahead of time, and that's
Mhm.
okay. You can
Yep.
just say, I'm sorry that
Mhm.
what I did hurt you, and that's
Mhm.
okay. You don't
Yep.
have to be perfect. It's just lets the person know that you're not
Mhm.
trying to hurt them,
Mhm.
and that's all you need to do.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Okay.
take care, everybody. Much love, and I will see you in the next one. Love you, baby.
Bye.